Welcome everybody here to this Sunday morning service at Salt and Light Christian Church. The story that I will be telling you this morning is about the hymn, "The Old Rugged Cross." This is one of my personal favorite hymns. And it was written in the year 1913 by a man named George Bernard. Now, George was born in a small town in Ohio shortly after the end of the Civil War. And his father, while he was a youth, moved him and his family to Iowa, where through the ministry of the Salvation Army, George came to Christ. And it was here as a young man that he felt a calling to the ministry. And as he was growing up, he had a desire to go into theology school to learn more about the Bible and God, and to eventually go out into the ministry and become a pastor. However, while he was 16, his father untimely passed away and left George as the man of the house and the responsibilities of taking care of his mother and his sisters. And so, throughout his youth, he didn't really get the chance to go to college how he wanted. However, God eventually lessened his obligations that he had and allowed him to move to Chicago, where he began his ministry, and he got married. And it was here that through his ministry he began growing, and he eventually became ordained as a pastor. And as a pastor, he began traveling all around the Midwest, preaching anywhere he could to anyone that would let him, along with the Salvation Army. And so, during this time, as he was growing his ministry and trying to learn more about God, he really felt a calling to study the cross and the story of Christ's sacrifice on the cross for us. The verse, I'm sure we all know it, John 3:16, really stood out to him when he was doing this study on the cross. One of his quotes, he's quoted as saying, I'm paraphrasing, that the image of Christ's act on the cross is the physical manifestation of the words of John 3:16 coming out off the page. And so, it was during this time that he prayed for understanding of the cross and a deeper connection to Christ's sacrifice in this manner. And while he was praying one evening, the tune to the hymn came to him. And he began working on lyrics for this hymn. However, the lyrics were more elusive than the tune was for him to come up with. He spent months refining and polishing the lyrics, often singing bits and pieces of it to his friends and audiences, trying to get feedback to make it better, to make the words better. And eventually, he finished his hymn and was happy with it. And he took the finished product to one of his close friends and his friend's wife, and he sang the song in front of them. And they loved it so much that they offered to pay for the fees to have it published. And so, it was in 1913 that the hymn, "The Old Rugged Cross," was finally published and began showing up in hymnals across America. And we can see from the lyrics of this song how personal it was to him. This song, like many of our classic hymns, comes off as a prayer. One of the lyrics says that I will share your glory in heaven, recognizing that Christ's sacrifice on the cross was the ultimate sacrifice for us. That is the ultimate reward for his sacrifice that we can share his glory in heaven with him. So thank you. Let's bring the music.